The Russian winter of 1941 to 42 wasn't just cold, it was a silent, relentless killer. Across the Eastern Front, frostbite claimed more soldiers than bullets. Men woke to find toes blackened and stiff, entire units immobilized not by enemy fire, but by frozen feet. The human body is wired to protect the core at all costs, shutting down blood flow to fingers and toes when the temperature plunges. It's a simple biological truth. Extremities are expendable, but if they fail, everything else fails too. In the middle of that chaos, an unassuming yet ingenious solution quietly emerged, the bootliner trick. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't mechanical, and it certainly wasn't part of any official equipment list, but it saved lives. Before we dive into the details, if you value insights like these, real, tested, wartime survival lessons, take a moment to like, comment, share this video and hit subscribe for more content from the hard past. These are the techniques, the forgotten hacks, and the raw lessons history doesn't often broadcast, but every survivalist, historian, or curious mind should know. So, what exactly was this trick? And why did it matter more than the finest boots or wool socks in the world? The challenge wasn't the boots themselves. German and Soviet armies had sturdy leather designs, nailed soles, and even felt inserts in some models. The real enemy was moisture. Soldiers' feet would sweat inside their boots, and in sub-zero temperatures that moisture froze, turning an otherwise protective boot into an icy chamber. Wet wool loses insulation faster than almost anything else. This wasn't just uncomfortable, it was lethal. The bootliner trick was born of desperation and experimentation. Troops on both sides realized that if moisture could be managed, survival improved dramatically. Soviet soldiers began stuffing newspapers inside their boots, not only for insulation, but to wick away sweat and create a replaceable, dry layer each day. German soldiers used straw in felt boots, creating small air pockets that trapped heat while keeping the inner wool layer dry. Canadian units were issued removable felt liners that could be dried by the fire each night. Across the board, the solution was less about materials and more about managing moisture, layering strategically, and allowing air circulation where possible. The brilliance of this method lies in its simplicity. The inner layer, a thin sock of synthetic or silk material, directly touches the skin and wicks away sweat. A disposable middle layer, whether newspaper, paper towels or dry grass, acts as a moisture buffer. Over this goes a thick wool or thermal sock, and then the boot. The system works because it moves moisture away from the skin before it can freeze, while still trapping air for insulation. Soldiers removed and dried these liners nightly, sometimes even alternating liners midday to maintain dryness. In extreme cold, this discipline wasn't convenience. It was the difference between survival and permanent injury. The lessons here go far beyond World War II. Modern survivalists, hikers and explorers often obsess over insulation ratings and expensive gear, but if sweat can't escape, even the most advanced boots fail. This principle underlies today's vapor barrier systems and removable boot liners, used by militaries and Arctic explorers alike. Essentially, what a soldier in 1942 did with newspaper and straw is the same concept engineers use in advanced cold-weather boots today. There's also a psychological component. A soldier with warm, dry feet could march, fight and react longer than one with numb toes. Pain and cold sap morale faster than hunger or fatigue. History repeatedly shows that small adaptations in comfort and thermal regulation had massive effects on endurance. Foot care became a matter of moral and operational strength. Veterans would recall that maintaining dry, insulated feet wasn't indulgence. It was central to maintaining mobility, focus, and effectiveness on the battlefield. Moreover, the bootliner trick illustrates the ingenuity born of necessity. Without Gore-Tex, Thinsulate, or modern synthetics, men improvised. They learned by doing, observing, failing, and improving. Entire doctrines on thermal management evolved from these desperate experiments. Armies discovered that insulation alone wasn't enough. Moisture control and ventilation were equally critical. That insight shaped post-war military footwear development and still informs modern winter survival strategies. Applying this today doesn't require historical boots or a winter in Siberia. Start with a thin wicking sock, add a moisture-absorbing layer, and finish with a thick insulating sock and protective boot. Replace liners periodically and dry them overnight. Carry backups if you can. Understand that survival isn't just gear, it's discipline, preparation and knowledge applied correctly. These are the same principles that saved men in the forests and plains of Eastern Europe in 1942. In the end, the bootliner trick is more than a survival hack. It's a lesson in observation, adaptation, and human resilience. It reminds us that nature doesn't care about rank, technology, or wealth. It rewards preparation, ingenuity, and the willingness to learn from necessity. Soldiers who mastered this simple method outlasted the cold when others fell victim. For anyone serious about enduring harsh conditions, historian, explorer, or survivalist, the lesson is clear. Moisture kills. Manage it, and your feet, and by extension, you survive. If this story inspired you, and you want to uncover more forgotten survival wisdom from history's hardest moments, make sure to subscribe to The Hard Past. Share this video with a friend who appreciates real history, and leave a comment about your favourite survival adaptations from the past. These are lessons that deserve to be remembered, applied, and passed forward.